Hello YouTubers, and welcome finally to the B&M sets, the first lot anyway of the B&M sets for 2021. Also, if you're watching this video and it's stuck at 360p, come back in about an hour or two and hopefully the 4K version will have processed by then. But anyway, here it is in its box, and I'm not going to talk an awful lot about the box, but yeah, we've got a load of information on the back. And some of it is complete bollocks. So, yeah. But taking a look at the set itself, we take a look at the actual backdrop. What I like about this one is Alduar didn't put a load of pointless, random Easter eggs just chucked all over the place, you know. It looks more like an actual backdrop rather than literally just like copy and pasting a bunch of images all over the place. This actually looks like a nice little diorama of the actual ship from Power the Daleks. So yeah, it is a really nice little ship there. So I do appreciate, you know, this just being more of just a diorama piece, like for example with the first History of the Daleks set. But anyway, let's take a look at the Daleks themselves. There's not an awful lot to say about these, so let's get started and we'll talk about the mutant scoop one.
I don't know that one.
That's why I wasn't talking to you. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But basically, the mutant scoop one. Yeah, what the hell happened here, Alduar? What the hell happened here? So I was very surprised that we actually got a new sculpt for this. That they didn't, you know, I thought that we would get one Dalek with a gun and one without, but no. The extra effort was made to actually make a new mutant scoop. But for some reason, it has no mutants in it. So on its own like that, it just looks really weird. And I know what a lot of people are saying. Oh, just buy the reconnaissance Dalek and put the mutant from that in there. Or, you know, put this mutant in here. Or put, you know, the one from the Jester set in here. The thing is, though, you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to go out and buy something else to do that. And in terms of cost, if they did what they did with the 3 3/4 inch version and just have the mutants, you know, be part of the mutant scoop sculpt, it wouldn't have costed any more money because it would have just been part of the sculpt. I don't know why Alduar decided not to do this, just for variant's sake, for the sake of variance, but it is really bloody annoying. The fact that, you know, the mutant scoop has no mutant on it, because, yeah, it just looks weird with no mutant scoop in that, with no mutant in the mutant scoop. Now, another difference between the previous Chase figure release is the dome lights. Yeah, they are slightly different this time. They've tried to make them a little bit more accurate in terms of making them look a little bit, I guess, kind of frosted, because they were looking a bit like that at this point. And also, for some reason, they still, on either one of these, haven't gave them the really dark blue hemispheres that they should be. Now, granted, they're not the really light baby blue that they gave the Flamethrower Dalek last year, because that had them for some reason. But yeah, this is just annoying. It's not too bad, and it does have the correct straight gun, but yep, we finally reached the elephant in the room. I was very happy at first to see, oh great, you know, Alduar actually listened and went back, you know, to the grey that they've been using since the first Dalek Collector set. But then this, what the fuck is this? And the thing is, this does not cost any less money to do. Like, if the entire thing was silver, you know, you could justify it in saying, oh well, they're not using any grey paint, but just doing the front, it's just laziness more than anything else. Like, why? Why is this the case? This would not have cost any more money because you're still using grey paint to paint this section. So why not just paint the rest of it? Just like, why? I honestly don't know why the hell they've done this, because last year's, although it was a really light grey and it was, you know, wrong, they still did the whole thing, but in this case they haven't. And then we get to the other inaccuracy. So, this Dalek has the smaller pupil, which Power yes, technically does have that, so that is correct. But for some reason, Alderaan has used the 70s eye stalk for that. And there's a bit of a biography on the back saying, oh, only one of the Daleks and that had the eye stalk. Wrong. You're thinking of Evil of the Daleks, where they switched to what would become the 70s eye stalk. In Power of the Daleks, that wasn't the case. They were still using these elongated eye stalks. Basically, they were still using the elongated eye stalks that they had been using for years at that point. So, yeah, this should not have the short eye stalk. Granted, though, it does technically make it an Evil of the Daleks Dalek. So, yeah, although it shouldn't, for Evil, they shouldn't have a small pupil, because none of them did in Evil. So, yeah, so we've technically sort of got an Evil of the Daleks figure before the set actually comes out, so, yeah. And then we've got the scuffing. Now, these Daleks do have a tiny bit of scuffing, but this is just completely overboard. And it does vary from figure to figure, but God, this literally just like, it's too much. It is too much. Like, it shouldn't be this much. It should be a lot less than what it actually is. And also, I'll demonstrate on this Dalek here. There's a slight split in the skirts again, which I've been trying to push together to click together. And I've noticed on a few of them there's more and more damage in the moulds for these Daleks. One of them was in the store my brother actually refused to get because it was so damaged. But you can see seams in that. And this is something I, drew to concern last year, that these Dalek moulds, are over a decade old, and now they're not in pristine condition anymore because they've been used for pretty much every single classic Dalek figure release. So, yeah, they've seen better days, and it is getting to that point where it's getting considerably more and more worrying as time goes on. So, yeah, something like that is just a bit of a concern for me. Now, in terms of this, if you want to army build these sets, well, what I'd say with this is, rather than buying an extra one just to get an extra plunger for one of these, what I'm going to be doing is, with my extra History of the Daleks 7 sets, which is these, I'm going to be using the plunger from my extra Supreme Daleks to basically swap them with the Mutant Scoop. So I'm going to have a bunch of Mutant Scoop Supreme Daleks. So, yeah. Overall, would I recommend this set or not? Well, it's a bit of a tricky one. So, if you're kind of just satisfied with the release you had last year, with the, standards, like Hartnell 60s one from the Chase, I can easily see you skipping this set. For the Mutant Scoop, well, it is nice to finally get a Mutant Scoop, but with no mutant in it, it just makes it look a bit odd and a bit weird. So, yeah, it's kind of a bit more of a mixed bag. I am very glad we do finally have this, in a 5-inch form. But again, there's just those things, just like, Alderaan does not do proper research on things. And I know he doesn't, because he admitted so himself that he didn't in one of characters' official videos. Granted, it wasn't for this, it was for the first Doctor figure, but yeah, Alderaan literally just looks for the first image on Google Images and just goes off that, whether that be a real thing or not. So this is just so annoying because it's so close! It's so close, yet, to being really fantastic. Like, literally just like, have this entirely grey, and then have both of these have the standard length eye stalk from the 60s, And I could even possibly forgive that not having a mutant for that, but it still has the shortcomings. It still has the shortcomings, and, the more and more damage you start to see, I can particularly see it in the light here, where there's, like, little dings and that in the sculpt. But, yeah, it's so close to being there. So close, but, yeah, basically, if you're satisfied with last year's sets, I would say wait and see if there's a price drop. If you're a die-hard collector, it's pointless me saying anything. You've already made your mind up on this. But, yeah, overall, that's that set, and I'll see you next reviewing that. Bye-bye.